This is a message to all the Gen Zs, especially the Luo Gen Zs. Any young Luo who is outside there, any young Luo who will be watching this video, and if you are here, you can also share the video with them, because this is a message to you, especially the Luo Gen Zs. There is a narrative that has always been sold in Nyanza, that when it comes to politics, we have to listen and to follow one person and one person alone. And that thing has hindered a lot of the meaningful development from being experienced or seen in Nyanza. There have always been a narrative that Nyanza, nothing can go on as long as you are not in agreement with Raila Odinga. That has always been the narrative that has been sold there. It is time the young Luos, the Gen Zs, liberate themselves from this mind. Apparently, this thing is still being propagated, is still being pushed, that we need to listen to one person and one person alone. That one has always hindered a lot of meaningful development from being experienced in Nyanza. I'm going to break down these reasons as to why this mentality has been dangerous and as imetuweka, like imefanya Nyanza imekuwa nyuma in terms of development. And I'm going to give you the reasons as to why, and to why you young people, you are the only saviors of this issue. You are the one to liberate people from this mindset, because it's a mindset that has been said that when you grow, you have to follow a certain way of thinking, a certain way of doing things, a certain way of voting, and a certain pattern of expressing yourself politically. That if you do something contrary, different to that, you are seen as the enemy of the people and the enemy of the community. That is what people need to change. So if you are new to this platform, before I go into the details of all this, I want you to take a second to subscribe and to hit the notification bell, so that anytime I'll post a video, you will always be the first to watch. So take a second, subscribe, na kama kawaida, I'll be back. Thank you for subscribing. Now I want us to focus to ODM and Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga has been a politician in this country for a long time. He has served in so many governments, but he has always been perceived to be an opposition leader all through. But he has served in so many governments. But Raila Odinga, as a politician, he has always ensured that Nyanza, especially the Luo Nyanza, are intact behind him. That one he has always maneuvered. He has always come up with all ways to make sure that the Luos are tightly behind him in terms of support. And if there's one thing that has costed a lot of Nyanza a lot of things, is that mindset that we need to follow Raila through and through and through. That has made us we come up tunapata leaders that are not competent. We vote for leaders simply because Raila has okayed that person. We end up voting for that person. Because you remember, Raila has always been advocating for 3-piece, 6-piece and everything. He always say that in Nyanza ataki kitu kama inaitwa madoadoa. That he wants us to vote for ODM throughout. When you are voting for MCA, the MP, the governor, the Nini, everyone, all the way up, you vote for ODM. And why? Why do we do this? It's because ODM is his cash cow. The moment he has significant numbers, he is able to cut deals with the ODM, like what he's doing currently with UDA and Ruto. So it has never been about serving the people. It's about him having a party that he can use and having members that he can use for his own political gain. Nyanza has one of the most educated people in this country. We have a lot of professors. We have people with brains. But these people hardly perform in their in their areas, even if they are members of parliament, even if when they are MPs, they are senate, they hardly deliver anything. Look at all the members of parliament. Look at all the members of parliament from Nyanza. Tell me which one has done any significant thing in terms of even with the CDF that they are given to Nyanza people. It is because some of these people, as much as they are educated, they only go into those seats because they want titles, because they want to feel like they have now a big name, and for you to get to that level, first and foremost you have to be close to Raila. Raila has to endorse you. So that you find that all these nominations zenyewe zinafanywa, they are just a formality in Nyanza. They are always a formality. Whoever has been approved that is going to go through ataenda through. And there has been always every attempt to kill any alternative voice. Any alternative voice in Nyanza has always been shut down by whatever means. Any politician who think contrary, who wants to go contrary to Raila and what ODM believes, is always fought to the tooth. Yani they always make sure huyu jamaa ataisha kisiasa. They fight you. They make sure that even if it means bringing people goons when in your rally and everything, they will do that to make sure that you don't, they suppress you kabisa. That is a mindset that the Gen Zs, the young Luos, they need to liberate themselves from that. Why am I saying it? Why am I saying that there is attempt to do that? There is attempt to make sure that the young Gen Zs who are from those regions, from Nyanza especially, toe the line. There is a deliberate attempt. Take it for example. You can see very well after the Gen Z demonstration, who did Raila went to pick that is now speaking, is now the voice of the young people, is none other than Kasmuel. Who is Kasmuel? Nani alikuwa anajua Kasmuel? Nobody. But he has been kept there deliberately so that the Gen Zs can associate with him, can relate with him. And now whenever he's telling them something about that, oh Raila, we still need to follow what Baba is saying and what Baba is telling us, they will fall into that trap and continue being in that cycle of saying that what Raila has said, that is it. That is what they will follow. So my people, it is never about us. You must always know that the politicians don't do things for us. They do things for their interest. And to make sure that we remain in that perpetual cycle of tribalism. Because the truth of the matter is, whatever they speak out is not what they believe in their heart. That is the reality. With all politicians, whatever they say is not or whatever they portray is not what they follow and they believe in their heart. Because in the heart of Raila and everything, he believes that Nyanza needs to be under his control in whatever means. And when I speak of this, I speak also of the Kisis who are also part of Nyanza. He always believed that this Nyanza as entire province or former province needs to be under his control. And they will do everything and anything to make sure that your control imebaki. These things, this ODM that you see that is being now like okay, you can ask yourself why. Why have we ever why don't we don't have we don't have any alternative party in Nyanza that can rival ODM? Have you ever wondered why? We don't have an alternative party that can rival ODM. Look at Western Kenya. Western Kenya has quite a number of parties that always compete amongst themselves. Look at Central. Central, they always have alternative parties. But when it comes to Nyanza, we always have one party alone. And that party is always protected by all means, by anything, hata kama ni violence, kama ni mbaya ni mbaya. But look at places like Ukambani. Yes, they have one party, but they have other parties as well. But the Wiper party is not always protected by violence or any other thing. No. As much as there are other parties, and Wiper is a major party, but even when they do their nomination, it's never that violent. But when it comes to ODM, you'll see people, and especially young people, are the one who always drive this agenda that once Raila has spoken, that is the way to go. That is all they always say. You'll never hear such conversation from Wiper and Ukambani people that by whatever means, whatever nani amesema. That's why we have people like Alfred Mutua and his Maendeleo chap party. That's why we have people like that governor Kivuta Kibwana who used to have, I don't know if the party still exists. Because we must have an alternative voice in Nyanza. We must have an alternative party in Nyanza. And it is quite unfortunate that the people who are supposed to bring that alternative are still falling trap, are still following what Jacom is saying and Jacom is doing and Jacom is saying all these things, are still falling for that trap. It is quite unfortunate. Me, I was hoping to see, I watched Babu yesterday in an interview in Ramogi and I felt sad. I watched that interview and I felt sad. Because this is a man who has so much potential. This is a man who has so much potential that God has elevated him to a point whereby you can take your own path, but you are still stuck with Raila. This is a man who has not built his politics from Nyanza. Because any politician, and this is the reality, any politician who has built his political career from Nyanza cannot walk away from Raila hivyo vile anataka. It's very difficult. But someone who has built his political career from Nairobi, I was very sad when I watched Babu saying all these things, that watakanyagana tu hapo kwa ODM, that they will do anything they can hapo hivyo. No, that is not the way to go. We need someone who can liberate the Luos, who can be an alternative voice to the Luos, if so that we can start having leaders who are competent. Leaders who will deliver to the people of Nyanza. That is very, 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 very important. Because Nyanza, it has reached a point that as long as Baba is happy, you will serve until you die in that office. If there is no term limit, as long as Baba is happy. Because look at even the governors. Most of the governors are hardly perform. You remember that governor of Rasanga, of Siaya. That guy hardly performed for the 10 years that he was the governor. And you wonder why there has never been any impeachment motion against any governor in Nyanza. Ever wondered why? As much as they don't deliver, as much as they don't perform in any way or shape, but there has never been any motion of impeachment against any governor of Nyanza. Why? Because as long as Baba is happy, as long as Baba's interest is taken care of, you will serve. You will be protected. You hardly hear of MCAs in Nyanza. MCAs in Nyanza hardly speak anywhere. They hardly express themselves. Because once governor has sorted ako sawa na huko juu, then huko chini kila kitu iko sawa. Anyone who understands politics should understand one thing, especially in Nyanza, that we need to liberate the young people. The young people are the ones to liberate this mindset and this way of thinking. It is sad that the old people can't, and because they have been programmed to see that everything, all their problem starts and ends with Raila being at the helm of everything. All their problems will end. All their problems will end as long as Raila is happy. Their problem inaisha. So even if Raila amepatiwa 50% of the government, even if it has got nothing to do with them, they are happy. The Nyanza people are okay that Raila amepata kitu. Like we have reached a point that we have suspended our brains and we let someone now think for us. It's like it's like we are programmed to think in a certain way, like it's a computer program that it has been structured to operate in a particular way, and you can't think differently. Look at how anyone who has gone contrary to what Raila and ODM has stood for, how they have been dealt with. Raphael Tuju is a good example. Unaona? Raphael Tuju is a good example. There are so many people. So we end up having leaders as much as they are educated, as much as there are people who can articulate issues and bring up issues and express themselves very well, but when it comes to delivery, they deliver nothing. Because there's a difference between being someone who can deliver and speaking good English. Our people from Nyanza are just good at expressing themselves and speaking and agitating for rights and everything, because that is what they were programmed with Raila, because that is what Raila has always fashioned his style of politics is. He has fashioned his style of politics on human rights, democracy and all those things. But when it comes to in reality, there is no real democracy in ODM. Democracy is just a word, but when it comes to the ground, it is a totally different experience for those who understand. And that is why the young people, you need to stop falling for this trap of sijui Raila amesema we need to follow sijui our community. The young people, the young Luos, do not fall for those traps that is being sold to you by now these young people who have been brought around Raila, the likes of Akina Kasmuel and everything, who are now telling you that those people are just being used to make sure that you don't get away from the loop. You remain in that loop. That is what that is the aim, and that is the objective, so that the master of all this can continue benefiting and pushing his agenda over and over and over again. You people need to liberate your mind from that. Young people, I hope you are listening to me. We need to have an alternative voice in Nyanza. We need to have an alternative person in Nyanza. I used to think that Babu will give us that alternative, but apparently Babu has also been so much indoctrinated into following whatever Raila says in whichever shape and form, to a point whereby I now don't see any hopes in him again. I don't see any form of liberation from him again. I just see someone who will follow whatever Raila says for as long as amepata kiti yenye anataka, which is very, very sad. So we have to look elsewhere. The people need to look elsewhere, because until that happens, then Nyanza will always be in that cycle. Look at people like people in Western, people, not even people in Central. How many leadership, how many kingpins or whatever way you perceive them have emerged out of Central? So many of them, they have been coming and going, coming and going, coming and going, now coming and going. Recently we had Uhuru now is gone. Now we have like Gachagua. And I know Gachagua will also serve it, and then someone else will come and take over. But when it comes to Nyanza, we have always been following a particular person or his family for like forever. Forever, since independence. It was the father, now we are speaking of the son, and now the thing is just continuing and continuing and continuing and continuing. And they want to make sure that they pass it over to someone else, that you still remain in that thing. So you people need to liberate yourself from that. You people need to liberate yourself from that. And when you come up with these issues, the people fight you are the young people. You will see them, even in the comment section, you will see them. The very, very young people will come back and fight you. Oh, you have to respect Raila. You have to really... Respect for Raila remains. He's an elder. He has done so many things for this country. He has done so many things, so many great things for this country. But that one does not negate the fact that we can't point out some things that are not adding up and some things that are wrong. We must always understand that element. That as much as we have to respect so and so, respect does not mean that we cannot call out some of the things that are not, that we feel that are not okay. We always have to call these things out. That is the essence of democracy. Democracy is that you let people express themselves and their will how they deem fit. So politically we are saying that Raila as an elder has done great things for this country. That one we cannot take away from. But also we need to liberate ourselves from that aspect of trying now to listen and to follow everything he says. Because if we don't do that, then some of us, the challenges we've been experiencing, especially in our region, will continue to be there. As itaenda, zitakuwa tu hapo. So we need to break that cycle. Anyway guys, that was it from me. If you are new to this platform and you have watched this video until the end, I want to say thank you and thank you so much. And for the return subscribers, I also appreciate you so much. You can join the membership on YouTube. It's coming. So if you want to be a member of this platform so that you can always discuss, you can always get those special packages, kindly reach out. You can join. The join button will be active on that down there very soon, so you can always press that and you join. Remember what we do here, we advocate for good politics, for clean politics and everything. We have to discuss the future of this country, because with good, if the politics is good and the politics is clean, then kila kitu inakuwa sawa. So take a second, subscribe again, and then kama kawaida, I'll see you next time. Bye.